If you are hearing this, you've already walked closer than most people ever will. Not to a temple made of stone, those are souvenirs. I'm talking about the invisible temple that begins the moment your attention stops scattering and becomes a blade. There is a line attributed to the old temple scribes of Kem, Egypt, so rarely translated that most modern readers never even see it, not because it is hard to translate, because it is hard to survive. It says, in essence, the initiate is not tested in the chamber, the initiate is tested at the doorway. That sentence sounds poetic until you understand what it means. Everyone wants the vision. Everyone wants the surge, the night when your chest opens like a gate and something ancient moves through you like a warm current. Everyone wants the activation, the moment your intuition becomes a living creature staring back through your eyes. But Thoth's hidden instruction was never about entering. It was about returning. Returning to noise, returning to bills, messages, temptation, old arguments, old identities, the same rooms where you used to shrink yourself. Returning to the familiar gravity that tries to pull the miracle out of you like water from a cloth. And here is the forbidden part. Most awakenings fail not because the person is weak. They fail because the person becomes inflated. They mistake voltage for mastery. They mistake sensation for stability. They mistake being lit up for being aligned. In modern language, their nervous system spikes, their reward circuits flare, their pattern recognition goes into overdrive, and suddenly everything looks like a sign. They start preaching, they start chasing, they needing. The ancient traditions, Egypt, India, Tibet, agreed on something uncomfortable. The first spiritual trap is making the experience into your identity. Thoth called it the golden mask. In India, you see it as the Siddhi trap, powers that distract. In Tibet, you see it as the Nyam trap, meditative experiences mistaken as realization. Different cultures, same warning, same ghost wearing different clothes. So, what is the hidden instruction? It's a method for keeping power intact when you step back into ordinary life. Not power like control over others, power like coherence, power like presence that does not leak, power like a field that stays steady even when someone tries to hook you with fear, shame, praise, lust, anger, urgency. And yes, this is a technique, a real one, a practice you can do with breath, sound, and attention, a practice that touches the sixth sense not as fantasy, but a biological doorway, the way the mind's noise quiets enough to let subtle pattern and intuition rise, the way your body becomes an antenna when you stop treating it like a machine. Modern science calls pieces of it vagus tone, interoception, neural coherence, brainwave entrainment, resonance. Ancient mysticism calls it the ka, the prana, the wind, the luminous channel, the inner hearing. They were describing the same territory with different maps, and the reason this instruction stayed hidden is simple. If someone does it wrong, they don't just not get results, they get side effects. Obsession, spiritual arrogance, emotional instability, sudden insomnia, a craving for signs, a hunger to force outcomes, a feeling of being chosen that is actually a fracture disguised as light. So, listen closely. You are not here to collect mystical jewelry. You are here to become a stable vessel. Because Thoth's true gift was never the doorway, it was the return. And if you do this correctly one time, even once, you can initiate a transformation that does not fade when the video ends. Before we begin, make an agreement with yourself. You will not perform this like entertainment. You will do it like an oath. If you're ready, keep your spine upright, not stiff, upright like a pillar that remembers it once was a tree. Let your jaw soften. Let your shoulders drop as if you are taking off an invisible cloak you didn't realize you were wearing, and enter the first threshold with me. This is the ancient lock that keeps your power from leaking the moment you step back into ordinary life. I still remember the first time I understood why the old temples didn't celebrate when someone opened. It wasn't because they were unimpressed. It was because they were terrified, calmly, respectfully terrified of the after. In the stories, initiation is fireworks. In reality, initiation is a candle you must carry through wind. The return seal is that candle technique. It's the method Thoth gave to those who had tasted the chamber, visions, surges, awakenings, so they wouldn't become addicts of their own electricity. Here's the strange part. The return seal does not feel like power at first. It feels like less drama, less urgency, less spiritual theater. It feels like your system stops begging for stimulation, and that can scare people more than darkness, because many people confuse intensity with truth. Thoth didn't. He measured truth by what remains when the mind stops negotiating. Think of resonance in physics. If you strike a tuning fork near another tuning fork of the same frequency, the second one begins to vibrate without being touched. No pushing, no forcing, just sympathetic resonance. Your energy field works the same way. If your power only exists inside silence, inside candles, inside music, inside perfect conditions, it is not power, it is dependency. The return seal creates a frequency in you that does not require ideal conditions to remain active. In India, they talk about the yogi who carries stillness into the marketplace. In Tibet, the instruction is to bring practice into post-meditation, where the real test begins. In Egypt, the language was more severe. The initiate returns to the street with the god inside and must not spill it through foolish speech, lust for attention, or the hunger to be seen. And modern neuroscience quietly nods along. Your brain is not just thinking, it is predicting, scanning, seeking patterns. When you become heightened, you can slip into hypersalience. Everything feels meaningful, urgent, cosmic. That state can be beautiful and also unstable. The return seal cools the system into coherence, so intuition becomes clear instead of loud. Now listen, this is the hands-on practice for the return seal. Not a performance, a precise act. The practice. Do this once, correctly. Close your eyes halfway, not fully closed, halfway, like you're standing between worlds. Bring your attention to the point just behind the center of your throat, not the skin, behind it. Imagine a small chamber there, a quiet room. Now inhale through the nose for a slow count of 4. Hold for 2, not tight, not strained, just suspended.
Exhale through the mouth for 6, as if you are fogging a mirror silently. Do that 7 times. On the 7th exhale, do not rush into the next inhale. Instead, pause. Wait in the empty space. This pause is the secret hinge, because the return seal is not created by breath. It is created by what breath reveals, the moment you realize you can be present without chasing the next sensation. In that pause, bring your attention down into the center of your chest, behind the sternum, where grief and courage share the same room. Now, here is the sound. You will release a single tone, softly, like you are speaking to something ancient without waking the house. The tone is Ra, but not shouted, not repeated like a robot, not begged. One clean release. Ra. Let it vibrate in your chest more than your mouth. A single tone can be more dangerous than 1,000 repetitions if you do it with the wrong hunger. So hear the warning. Mental trap number 1, the beggar's voice. If you say Ra like you are begging the universe to notice you, you are training desperation into your nervous system. That does not activate power, it activates need. Mental trap number 2, the prophet mask. If you feel a rush and immediately want to tell everyone, post about it, correct strangers, announce your awakening, stop. That is not the seal. That is inflation. Mental trap number 3, the sign addiction. If you do this and then spend the next day hunting signs, repeating angel numbers, reading omens into every sentence, stop. That is your pattern engine overheated, not your intuition awakened. Now, after the single tone, return to stillness. Let the mouth close, keep the spine upright, and do the most important part. Bring your awareness to your hands. Feel the subtle vibration in them, tingling, warmth, or nothing at all. Whatever you feel is acceptable, because the seal is not feeling. The seal is containment. Now imagine that your awareness, like liquid light, is collecting into the center of your body, not rising out of you, not escaping upward, collecting inward, as if you are becoming denser with presence. This is the opposite of spiritual fantasy. Most fantasies teach you to float away. Thoth teaches you to return deeper into yourself. What you may notice and what it means. Some people feel a quiet pressure behind the forehead, like the mind is stepping back from the front of the skull. Some feel a warmth in the chest, as if a small sun has turned on but refuses to show off. Some feel emotionally flat for a moment, almost bored. That is a good sign. It means your system is not chasing fireworks. Some feel a wave of grief. That surprises people. They think power should feel like victory, but grief is often the first honest sensation that appears when you stop performing your life. If grief comes, do not dramatize it. Let it be a river passing through. In the Tibetan tradition, they warn, when clarity begins, old knots can loosen. In Indian texts, it's described as samskaras rising, impressions dissolving. In Egyptian language, it was simpler. The dead weight leaves. Here are the side effects if you do it wrong. If you force the breath, you may feel dizziness, agitation, or insomnia later. That's not awakening. That's a stressed nervous system. If you repeat the sound compulsively, you may feel obsessive or emotionally raw. That's not downloads, that's a loop. If you chase the sensation, you train yourself to leak power outward. You become a spiritual spender, not a keeper. And now, the most forbidden part. Just doing this once, correctly, can change your energy field for good. Why? Because you have introduced your system to a new pattern, power without performance. That pattern, once felt, is remembered. The body remembers the way a tuning fork remembers tone. your attention will begin to recognize leakage in daily life. The moment you over-explain, the moment you seek validation, the moment you abandon your center to win an argument, the moment you scroll to escape your own silence, and you'll feel something subtle, like an inner hand touching your shoulder, reminding you, return. That reminder is the seal beginning to live. If you want to anchor this into the collective field so it doesn't remain private, so it becomes stronger through resonance, leave a comment with a confirmation. Choose one of these or write your own. I have activated the return seal. The journey has begun and I will not leak. I returned with power intact. Write it like an oath, not like a trend, because language is also vibration. And when many people confirm the same frequency, it becomes easier for each individual to hold it.
This is the hidden switch that turns scattered emotion into directed vibration, without obsession or collapse. There is a cruel joke the ancient magicians would have laughed at, quietly, the way a priest laughs behind a mask. Modern people think the third eye is the main door, so they strain their forehead, they stare at candles, they chase visions, they try to see, and they wonder why they become anxious, overstimulated, sleepless, or arrogant. Because the first gate is not the eye, the first gate is the throat. Not because of communication in the social media sense, but because the throat is where energy becomes form. In Egypt, they spoke of the creative word, the power that shapes reality through vibration. In India, they called it vak, the subtle speech that precedes sound. In Tibet, they guarded mantra not as a pretty chant, but as a weapon and a medicine, a frequency that can stabilize the mind or break it, depending on the vessel. And modern science, again, stands nearby like an accidental witness. Your vagus nerve, the great wandering nerve that influences heart rate, breath, digestion, social engagement, runs right through this territory. Your voice is not just sound, it is nervous system output. When your voice becomes coherent, your body becomes coherent. This is why Thoth's hidden instruction for returning with power intact is not about thinking better, it's about vibrating cleaner. Because your field leaks most through speech. Not only through the words you speak out loud, but through the internal speech, your self-talk, your rehearsed arguments, the imagined conversations, the secret monologue you run like a radio in your skull. That inner chatter is vibration. It drains your charge. It dissolves the seal. So the throat gate practice is designed to do something radical, to silence the inner voice by giving it a single correct tone, like replacing static with one pure frequency. I still remember the first time I tried it properly. It was not mystical in the way people expect. There were no golden lights, no angels, no cinematic moment. Just an unbearable clarity, like someone cleaned the inside of my head with cold water. I realized how much of my life had been spent talking even in silence, explaining myself to imaginary judges, defending myself in conversations that never happened, rehearsing triumph, rehearsing revenge, rehearsing pain. And the moment the practice landed, the rehearsals stopped, like a theater going dark. That's the feeling of power returning. Not excitement, not ecstasy, an end to unnecessary output. The throat gate practice. You must do this precisely. This section is half instruction, half sermon, because if you do it lazily, it does nothing. And if you do it greedily, it can destabilize you. So follow this with respect. Step 1. Posture of the scribe. Sit upright. Imagine an invisible string lifting the crown of your head. Let the chin tilt slightly down, as if you're reading something sacred in your own chest. This is not aesthetic. It changes the angle of the airway and the ease of resonance. Step 2.
the silent inhale. Inhale through the nose for 5, slowly. But here is the secret. Inhale as if you are drinking the air through the back of your throat, like the breath is entering behind the tongue. If you don't feel the throat involved, you're inhaling too shallowly. Step 3, the seal hold. Hold for 3. During the hold, place your attention at the hollow at the base of the throat, not the skin, the space behind. Imagine a small blue-black chamber there, like a night sky, calm and endless. Step 4, the single note. Exhale and make one low, gentle hum. Not loud, not dramatic. A hum that feels like it originates from the throat and spreads into the chest. Let it last 33 seconds if you can. If you cannot, do not strain. Do what is comfortable. Why 33? Because across traditions, certain counts were used not as superstition, but as rhythm anchors. A stable count keeps the mind from wandering, and a long tone forces your breath to slow down, which forces your nervous system to downshift. In Egypt, temple acoustics were built to make sound return to the body. In India, the aum is not just a symbol, it's a spectrum of resonance across body cavities. In Tibet, deep chanting is used to settle wind energy, so the mind stops becoming a storm. Same principle. Sound reorganizes attention. Now, after the hum ends, do not speak. Do not immediately check your phone. Do not move quickly. Instead, sit in the aftermath like you are listening for a distant drum. This is where the gate opens, not during the sound, but in the silence that follows. The core mystery. Why this works. Your mind is like a crowd. If you yell at a crowd, it yells back. If you try to force silence, the mind resists. But if you give the mind one stable rhythm, one clean tone, one simple job, it relaxes. Neuroscience would talk about attention networks, breath control, parasympathetic activation. The ancients called it simpler. The voice returns to the heart, and the heart returns to the throne. And the throne, this matters, is not the forehead, it is the center. Because returning with power intact means you don't live from the edge of yourself, you live from the seat. What you will feel, signs you're doing it right. If you do this correctly, one of 3 things typically happens. 1, the sudden quiet. The inner monologue drops out for a few seconds. People often panic here because they don't realize how addicted they are to thought. If quiet comes, don't chase it. Let it be ordinary. 2, the pressure release. You may feel a release behind the eyes or at the temples, like tension draining downward. That's your system stopping its constant scanning. 3, the emotional rise. Sometimes old emotion surfaces, sadness, anger, embarrassment. Not because you opened trauma, but because you stopped suppressing with chatter. The trap is to interpret this as a cosmic message. It's not a prophecy, it's a purification. Warnings, because Thoth was not gentle. Now the cold warnings, the part modern spirituality avoids because it doesn't sell candles. Mental trap number 1, chanting as greed. If you start humming compulsively all day to stay high, you will burn out your system. This is like revving an engine in neutral. You don't go anywhere, you just heat up. Mental trap number 2, performing holiness. If you start using spiritual language to impress people, to win arguments, to feel superior, your throat gate becomes corrupted. Your words become leakage again, just dressed in robes. Mental trap number 3, forcing the note. If you strain your voice, you can irritate your throat and create agitation. Keep it soft. This is resonance, not aggression. If you're emotionally unstable lately, sleep-deprived, or easily obsessive, reduce the intensity. One gentle hum is enough. This is not a contest. Remember, the technique is powerful because it is subtle. A blade is not powerful because it is heavy. A blade is powerful because it is sharp. The returning test, the real practice. Here is where Thoth's instruction becomes real in modern life. After you do the throat gate, go back into your day and watch. The moment you want to over-explain yourself, the moment you want to win through words, the moment you want to prove you're right, the moment you want to announce your awakening. Those are the exact moments your power leaks. Instead of speaking, do this. Inhale lightly, and in your throat, silently hum without sound. Yes, a silent hum. Feel the resonance internally. This is the hidden version, safe, discreet, unstoppable. It's like tightening a knot from the inside. Do it once and you'll notice something uncanny. Your urgency drops. Your eyes soften. Your reaction time slows, not because you're weak, because you're not being dragged by impulse. That is power intact. That is returning. Confirmation. Seal it into the collective field. If you felt even a brief moment of inner quiet, comment one of these. My throat gate is open and calm. I speak less and hold more. I returned with power intact. Not for me, for you. Because when you confirm, you are not just typing. You are locking the pattern into your nervous system.
This is the sixth sense method Thoth used to awaken inner vision without triggering obsession, delusion, or spiritual inflation. People want inner vision the way a thirsty person wants water. Fast, desperate. They want proof. They want fireworks in the skull. They want to see because they don't trust the quiet knowing. And that is exactly why most people never develop a stable sixth sense. Because the sixth sense is not a flashlight you point outward. It's a mirror that becomes clear when you stop breathing on it. There is an old Egyptian idea that gets misunderstood in modern retellings, that the eye of Horus is a symbol of supernatural sight. True, but incomplete. In the deeper temple language, the eye is not a power you add, it is a distortion you remove. In India, they tell you the third eye opens when the mind becomes one-pointed and the breath becomes subtle. In Tibet, they warn that visions are not the goal. Visions are weather, and the practitioner is trained to recognize weather without worshiping it. Different traditions, same harsh truth. If you chase sight, you lose seeing. Because chasing is a vibration, and the thing you chase becomes a drug. So Thoth's hidden instruction includes a method for opening the inner eye while preventing the most dangerous side effect, the hunger to interpret everything, the hunger to assign meaning, the hunger to become special. I'll tell you something almost embarrassing. The first time my inner vision flickered open, I didn't feel holy. I felt caught, like the universe had found the place in me that was still lying. Not lying to others, lying to myself. The mind loves spiritual images because images can be collected like trophies. But the real inner eye does something different. It shows you the truth of your own vibration, and that truth is often inconvenient. It shows you where you leak, where you perform, where you pretend to be awake while secretly negotiating with fear. This is why Thoth's schools didn't advertise, not because the secrets were too pretty, because the secrets were too honest. The practice, the eye that doesn't seek. This practice is designed to be done one time with full precision. If you do it once correctly, you'll understand what seeing actually is. If you do it repeatedly with greed, you'll trigger overstimulation and obsession. So be clean, be simple, be exact. Step 1. The half-open gaze. Sit upright. Keep your eyes half open, not shut, not wide, half open. Let your gaze fall naturally about a meter in front of you, slightly downward. Do not stare hard, do not focus. You are looking without hunting. This is the first key, because hunting is tension, and tension blocks subtle perception. Step 2. The triangle of attention. Now place your attention in 3 points at once: the center of your chest, the hollow of your throat, and the space between your eyebrows. Do not strain, just include them.
like you're holding 3 candles in the same room. When people try to focus too hard on the forehead, they get headaches, pressure, insomnia, and grandiosity. This triangle prevents that. It grounds the eye in the heart and stabilizes it through the throat. Egypt, India, Tibet, each tradition has its version of this anchoring. Different symbols, same mechanics. Step 3. 7 non-breaths. Now breathe in a way that feels almost invisible. Inhale gently, exhale gently, and at the end of each exhale, pause for a beat. Do this 7 times, but here's the twist. During each pause, silently think a single word, still. Not as a chant, as a command to the system. Still, still, still. If you do this correctly, your mind won't fight. It will listen. Because you are not arguing with thought, you are giving the nervous system a stable instruction. Step 4. The inner screen appears. After the 7th pause, stop trying. Yes, stop trying. Do not hunt for lights. Do not demand images. Do not wish. Simply remain aware of the space behind your eyes, like you're listening for something. If something appears, faint shapes, colors, a sense of movement, do not react. Do not label. Do not chase. Do not interpret. This is crucial, because the moment you interpret, you fall into the trap that Thoth warned about and why it destroys initiates. There is a mental illness disguised as mysticism. It's when someone sees a flicker of inner imagery and decides it means they're chosen. They begin decoding everything like a conspiracy. They start believing the universe is talking to them constantly. They become unstable, arrogant, paranoid, or obsessed. That is not awakening. That is the pattern engine overheating. Modern psychology would call it hyperassociation, apophenia, or delusional interpretation. Ancient texts called it possession by false spirits. Not literal demons in the Hollywood sense. False spirits meaning false meanings, ideas that hijack the mind and inflate the ego. So here is Thoth's cold rule. You may witness, you may not cling. Witness like a scientist watching a reaction. Witness like a monk watching weather. Witness like a scribe recording what passes through the temple corridor. The moment you cling, you lose the eye. You don't become more spiritual, you become more hungry. And hunger is the opposite of power intact. What seeing actually feels like. Here's what people don't tell you. Real inner vision often arrives as a knowing before it arrives as an image. You suddenly know something about yourself you were avoiding. You suddenly see the emotional root beneath your habits. You suddenly recognize the exact moment you abandon your center in conversation. You suddenly feel the energetic difference between truth and performance. This is the eye doing its real job, not producing pretty pictures, revealing the distortion. Sometimes you'll see symbolic imagery, temples, shapes, colors, eyes, geometric patterns, but the real sign you're doing it correctly is not the imagery, it's the after effect. You become less reactive. You stop chasing validation. Your intuition becomes quieter but sharper. You sense what is aligned without needing to explain it. That's the eye that doesn't seek. Cross-cultural echo. Why this is not just Egyptian. In India, the third eye is often framed as a gateway to insight, jhana, a kind of seeing that dissolves illusion. In Tibet, they train practitioners to recognize visions as phenomena, arising and passing, so the practitioner does not build identity around them. In Egypt, Thoth's method was brutally practical. The initiate must return to daily life and keep the inner eye clean, not by chasing symbols, but by refusing to leak attention into noise. Modern science gives us a shadow of this too. When you stop over-fixating, the brain's predictive loops relax and perception becomes clearer. You stop imposing meaning. You start receiving pattern accurately. But again, this is not just theory. You're not here for concepts. You're here for activation. The one-time activation moment. Now I'm going to give you the once is enough moment of this section. Do it right now. Half-open eyes, triangle attention, gentle breath, 7 pauses with still, and then the final instruction. On the next inhale,
Imagine you are drawing a thin thread of light from your heart up to the space between your eyebrows. On the exhale, imagine that thread becoming silent, not brighter, silent, as if the light is made of quiet. This is a strange metaphor, but the body understands it. If the body understands it, the gate opens. Stay there for 10 seconds, and then release. No applause, no drama, just return. If you did it correctly, something in you will feel organized, less scattered, more aligned. Not high, aligned. Side effects. What to watch for. If you do this correctly, you may notice vivid dreams that feel clearer than usual, increased sensitivity to lies, yours and others, a desire to simplify your life, a temporary emotional rawness as old distortions surface. If you do it incorrectly by forcing, chasing, or obsessing, you may notice headaches or forehead pressure, insomnia, anxiety, compulsive meaning-making. If that happens, stop the eye practice and return to the return seal and throat gate only. Stabilize first. Thoth would rather you be stable than open, because open without stability is not enlightenment. It's a wound. Confirmation. Make it real. If you felt even a subtle shift, comment one of these. My inner eye is calm and clear. I witness without clinging. The journey has begun.
This is the final instruction. How to keep the power alive inside daily life without becoming obsessed, inflated, or collapsing back into old identity. If you expected the last part to be brighter, softer, more love and light, you misunderstood what Thoth was actually doing. This final section is not about opening more. It's about not spilling what you already opened. Because the most dangerous moment in any initiation is the morning after, the day after the ritual, the hour after the meditation, when nothing outside has changed, but something inside has. That is when the old world tests you. Not with demons, with familiarity, with someone texting you the same old bait, with a small inconvenience that used to trigger you, with a craving, with a comment, with boredom, with the temptation to narrate your life to yourself until the inner temple goes silent again. Thoth's hidden instruction for returning with power intact is an instruction for this exact trial, and it is almost insulting in its simplicity. It is the kind of instruction modern people hate because it doesn't sound mystical enough to sell. But it is the reason the temples produced stable initiates instead of unstable spiritual personalities. Here it is. You must learn to carry the frequency without displaying it, not hiding it out of fear, not suppressing it, carrying it the way a flame is carried in a storm, protected, quiet, inside. Because the moment you display it for attention, you turn it into performance. And performance leaks power. I'm going to speak sharply here because the ancient scribes would have been sharper. If your awakening makes you louder, you are probably not awakened. If your awakening makes you more eager to correct others, you are probably inflated. If your awakening makes you feel above ordinary responsibilities, you are escaping. The return is not proof of enlightenment. The return is the test. The myth, why Thoth hid this part. There's a fragmentary story from temple lore. Different versions appear in Egyptian, Hermetic, and later mystical texts. It says that after the initiate passed the inner chambers, Thoth did not give congratulations. He gave a cup of water, and he watched. If the initiate drank quickly, greedy, celebratory, Thoth ended the lesson. If the initiate drank with reverence, slowly, consciously, Thoth spoke the final line. If you cannot keep the God while drinking water, you cannot keep it anywhere. That's the entire point. Not whether you can feel energy in meditation, whether you can remain coherent while doing something ordinary.
Because ordinary life is where your old identity lives. Ordinary life is where your old triggers wait like traps in the grass. So the final instruction is a ritual of ordinariness and integration practice. And it contains the most important safety mechanism of all. It prevents obsession by placing awakening inside normal acts. The integration ritual. Do this today. You will do this ritual not in a temple, in your home, in your day. That is the whole design. Step 1. Choose one ordinary act. Pick one act you will definitely do today. Drinking water, washing your hands, opening a door, sitting down to eat, turning on your phone. Choose one. Only one. Because the trap is trying to turn your whole day into a ceremony and burning out. One act, one seal. Step 2. The 3-second return. When you begin that act, pause for 3 seconds. During those 3 seconds, silently activate the triangle: chest, throat, brow. Then silently say, "I return." Not as drama, as a reset. The phrase is not magic. The phrase is a trigger for the nervous system to come back to center. Modern science would call it interrupting the default mode loop. Ancient mysticism calls it returning to the throne. Same mechanism. Step 3. The invisible seal. Now, as you do the ordinary act, keep a gentle inner hum without sound in the throat. A silent resonance. Just enough to feel the body as present. This is your portable temple. This is what makes the practice survive the real world. And if you do it once cleanly, the mind will remember it. Step 4. The non-reaction test. Within the next 24 hours, something will try to hook you. A small irritation, a temptation, a person, a memory. When it happens, do not immediately respond. Do not immediately explain yourself. Do not immediately run the old program. Instead, do one breath. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. And on the exhale, silently think, contain. Contain does not mean suppress. Contain means you do not leak your center into the situation. You stay inside your own field. This is power intact. This is the return seal living in the marketplace. The psychological trap, the old identity's last weapon. Here is the haunting part. Your old identity is not evil. It is just familiar. It has routines. It has scripts. It has emotional shortcuts. And when you start changing, the old identity will try one last trick. It will turn spirituality into a new costume. It will use mystical language to avoid responsibility. It will use vibration to avoid hard conversations. It will use awakening to avoid humility. That is why Thoth's instruction is so grounded, because the final trap is not darkness. It is self-deception with incense. So watch for these signs. You feel superior because you know something. You feel impatient with ordinary people. You feel addicted to practices instead of steady from them. You feel the need to prove your awakening. You feel afraid of becoming ordinary again. If any of that appears, you do not need more rituals. You need the return. You need water. You need breath. You need containment. That's why the final ritual is ordinary. It keeps the power from becoming ego food. The once is enough moment. The final activation. Now we do the final activation together. This is the moment that, done once, can permanently change your relationship to your own energy. Sit upright. Half open eyes. Triangle attention. Inhale gently. Exhale gently. Now place one hand on your chest, not as symbolism, as nervous system anchoring. On the next exhale, silently say, "I will not leak." And then, this is the real key, remember a moment from your life when you used to collapse into reaction, a moment you used to lose yourself. It can be small, a criticism, a rejection, a delay, a disrespect. Bring it up lightly like you were holding a photograph, not reliving the trauma. Now breathe once, and instead of reacting inside, do the silent hum in the throat for 10 seconds. Feel the body staying present while the memory exists. This is the integration. This is the miracle. You just taught your nervous system a new truth. A trigger can exist without owning you. That is the definition of power intact. And yes, just doing it once can change your field forever, because you have created a new pathway, coherence under pressure. That's not a theory, that's a rewire. What you'll notice after, signs you're returning correctly. You may notice fewer impulsive reactions, less desire to explain yourself, more patience with silence, a sharper intuition that doesn't need proof, a subtle sense that you're held from inside. And you may notice uncomfortable side effects. You may lose interest in certain conversations. You may feel lonely briefly as old social patterns stop working. You may feel grief as you realize how much energy you used to spend leaking. You may feel a strange calm that others misread as coldness. That is normal. You're not becoming less human. You're becoming less programmable.